Coming up on this episode of the Appalachian Storyteller, Master Still Builder Tracy Baumgartner shares the secrets to building a world-class moonshine still. Hey guys, J.D. Phillips from the Appalachian Storyteller, and we are here today in Elizabethton, Tennessee with Master Moonshine Builder and Distiller Tracy Baumgartner. And we're here at Ace Custom Copper, and in a moment we're going to take a look at his distillery, which is Flaming Aces. Thanks so much for letting us come out today and talking to you.
All right, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Now, Tracy cut his teeth in the art of distilling when he was just a boy, hauling corn into the woods to hidden stills in the North Carolina mountains, and even building his first still as a teen.
It was a combination of family and heritage. I'm originally from Wilkes County, North Carolina, the true moonshine capital of the world. At one time, I think in the 50s, they said there were over 700 revenue agents in Wilkes County. So I've been around it my whole life. And I remember carrying corn and stuff into the woods when I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was carrying corn and stuff into the woods for it. And I had an uncle that made some moonshine stills, and he had arthritis and he needed to be able to still for a person. And he was having problems with his hands. So he asked me if I thought I could help him, and he taught me through using my hands. And that was the first time I ever put my hands on a moonshine still. And it wasn't pretty, but it didn't leak. So that's kind of how I got started in it. Over here's where we build everything. Got several different stills in the works right now. We've got this is a 30-gallon. We just got to finish up plumbing. That's a 20-gallon, another still builder built that we're going to be changing the cap and doing some modifications to for them. This is a 15-gallon. When we go over to the distillery, you'll see one like it. That's my test still. So this is one I'm building for a customer that's kind of identical to my test still. So it all starts out as flat sheet copper. I only use Revere copper. It's a C110 alloy. It's medical grade, 99.999% pure US made copper. So it starts there as a flat sheet. Then basically we cut it out on a plasma table for the dimensions we need to actually put it together. So this is this is a little 3-gallon thumper and worm body. So all of mine has a hem on the top and bottom of the worm of all the bodies. And I do that so it doesn't have sharp edges, so people don't get cut when they're handling them and stuff. It just makes it a little bit more of a finished product. So the first thing we do after we get it cut is we put hems on it, and then we run it through a slip roll like that to roll it into shape. Then I solder my vertical seams. So this is a bead roller, and so I use these to put in the beads like you see in this one here. And this is what this process looks like. So I tighten this down till it starts to get tight on it. And it's a power bead roller, so basically I just run around it. And then as it goes around, I keep tightening it up till it gets to the depth I want. And if you tighten up too fast, it'll cut through it.
Tracy's stills have a reputation as being some of the finest equipment available anywhere in the world and are truly works of art. From as small as 3 gallons to as big as 150, Tracy can build them all.
Right now we've got a whole lot of stuff going on in the copper shop here at Ace Custom Copper. I've got, if you look here, so there's a 10-gallon that's going to be picked up later today, a fat 10-gallon still, a little 3-gallon. Got a couple of finished 20 gallons. These are all built just like you would use it in a commercial distillery with all stainless steel tri-clamp connections. And this is my design. Nobody else really builds one exactly like what I do. All right, so this is one of my 3-gallon units. Basically, it's a good small miniature unit that can be used on a stovetop and on a hot plate or whatever, but even the largest, even 150-gallon unit still works the same way. It has the same components. So the first thing you've got is the steel pot, and this is where you put your fermented liquid in once it's finished fermenting. And on mine, if I call it a 3-gallon, you could actually put about 3.5 gallons in it to make sure you got enough head space. But it's real important that you fill it up to the bottom of the cone, and that gives you all of this area for head space for the alcohol vapor to form. So once this comes up to 190 degrees on your heat source, then your alcohol vapor starts to flow over to the thumper. The center section is called a thumper, and the reason it does that is because as it heats up, it starts making a thumping noise. So old timers called it a thumper or a thump keg. So once that thumper comes up to temperature, then you'll feel that it's getting hot coming into here. Once it starts feeling too hot to touch over here, you're getting close to running. And then this is your condenser or your worm, and you circulate cold water through it to keep that worm core cool. So once the alcohol vapor hits that worm, then it turns back into liquid and runs out of the end of it. Old timers, these caps would have been pasted on. So they make a flour paste to put around it to seal. What I do is differently is I use a stainless steel tri-clamp cap and a Teflon gasket, same thing that's used in the brewery industry, distillery, dairy, all uses the same thing and have been for centuries. So in mine, all you have to do to seal it up instead of using a paste is put that gasket in place, put the stainless steel tri-clamp cap on it, and put the clamp on it, and then once you tighten that clamp up, it's sealed and will not leak. The other thing I do is I use all stainless steel gauges. So I use a stainless steel temperature gauge. Instead of soldering the actual gauge into the steel, I solder a fitting in and screw the gauge into it. So if you have to change it, you can without having to do any soldering. Same thing here. On all of mine, I put a automatic vacuum relief valve in them, and I'd make that where you can replace it as well.
Now, just like the legends of old, such as Popcorn Sutton or Lewis Redmond, Tracy ain't just a master builder. That's right, he's also a master distiller and runs the popular Flamin' Aces Distillery, the first legal distillery in Carter County, Tennessee in over 120 years. Rooted in the timeless traditions of Appalachia, Tracy uses family recipes that have been passed down through the generations and refined with care. That's right, rooted in tradition and driven by passion. The result is a collection that feels both timeless and fresh, all while honoring the mountain's rich heritage. The end result is so good that it was voted the best craft distillery in the state of Tennessee in 2025.
So over here is where I do all my fermentation. These are jacketed stainless steel 150-gallon fermenters, and they have enough head space where you can ferment 150 gallons in them at a time. So the way I heat my jackets up, because you got to heat everything up before you ferment it, is I made me a boiler out of a 50-gallon stainless steel barrel, and I've got 2 electric heating elements in it and a recirculating pump. So I just circulate hot water through the jackets to heat up everything. And right now in this one, I've got 150 gallons of my blackberry elderberry fermenting. So in this fermenter, I have my Stony Creek Moonshine. It's actually, I pumped over, we're going to distilling it now. But it's a grain base, so it's a combination of corn, barley, and rye. So basically I have to bring the corn up to 190 degrees, cook it at 190 degrees for 90 minutes, let it gels. Then I add something called alpha amylase to it, which basically converts the starches and it'll turn back into a liquid real quick. Then I drop it down to 140 degrees and add my small grains, my barley and rye in it, and hold it there for another 90 minutes. And once that's done, I cool it down to around 100 degrees, add my glucoamylase, and then let it drop back down to 90 degrees, pitch my yeast, and let it ferment. And it usually takes somewhere between 5 days and 2 weeks to ferment. So this is where we distill everything. So once anything's done fermenting, we pump it into the still pot here. This is the 150-gallon still that I build out of flat sheet copper, just over in the Ace Custom Copper shop. I have an automatic recirculating pump, 4 electric heating elements, heating everything. So right now I'm actually running the Stony Creek Moonshine. So it's already done its first fermentation. Its first distillation. Now it's over here into the thumper. It's turned into a second distillation, and we're running at about 170 proof right now out of the condenser. So we're actually running the Stony Creek Moonshine today. We've already went through the 4 shots in the heads, and now we're starting into the hearts. And typically I'll get 7 to 8 gallons in the 160 to 170 proof, and then it'll start dropping a little bit every few gallons. Okay, so when someone calls me to talk about a possible still build, first thing I do is I try to find out their ability, if they're experienced in distillation or not. And then I try to talk through options, depending on what size they want, what different kind of options, if they want something custom. And I don't build just one set type of still. If a customer calls me and wants a 300-gallon submarine pod, or they want, an old onion pod or something like that, I'll build it. When I start building a moonshine still, from the ideal or concept to the finished still product, it typically takes anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the size of the still. A really large still or a complex build may take longer. And that's from cutting it from flat sheet copper to fabricating it to cleaning it, polishing it, leak testing it, and it ready to either be picked up or go out the door. For our distillation equipment, our moonshine stills, test still, I build it 100%. So the first thing I make is my Stony Creek Moonshine. It's a 91 proof. It's corn, barley, and rye. It's extremely smooth. It's got a little bit of the rye taste. It's very popular. People use it all the time. So that was the first moonshine that I made here. And then after that, we've got my Blue Hole Sour Mash, which is a sour mash of the Stony Creek Moonshine, still the same corn, barley, and rye. It's 106 proof. Most people say it's a little smoother than the 91 proof because of the sour mash process. You get a little bit more rye flavor out of it, but that's my Blue Hole Sour Mash, and it pays tribute to the Blue Hole, which is a mountain-fed waterfall that's a couple miles up the road. And then the next thing, and this one's really special, this is Lynn Valley Farmers Reserve. It's 100% pure, fresh field sweet corn, cob and all. Came from a local farm down in Lynn Valley that's been grown down there for centuries or generations. And it's 98 proof. Anybody that tastes this says they've never tasted anything like it. It smells and tastes like sweet corn. And I make an apple cobbler. It's all natural, no artificial flavors, no syrups or anything like that. So the only thing you're missing in this from an apple cobbler that you would eat is the flour and the grease. So otherwise it's in there. And then if you decide you want to talk to me about a moonshine still, possibly ordering one or building one, or just have questions about the process, you can reach out to me at acecustomcopper.com, or you can call me or text me at 423-873-9742.
Thanks so much to Tracy for giving us a tour of Ace Custom Copper and Flamin' Ace's Distillery. If you ever drop by there, be sure to tell him JD sent you. Let me know what you think of his story in the comments below. Oh, and by the way, you might have noticed that we're on a different channel today, the Appalachia channel. This is my daughter's channel that I frequently share stories on, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button to show us some love. Thanks so much for watching, my friends, and I'll see you on the next story.